The vision slammed into me at exactly 2:47 a.m. Three men in black suits, my name on a contract, and a pregnancy test with two pink lines I'd never taken. I woke up screaming into my pillow like an idiot. My name is Carter Reid. I'm 23, and I can see the future. Not all of it. Not the lottery numbers or stock market crashes or anything useful like that. No, I get the emotionally devastating stuff. The breakups, the betrayals, the moments right before everything falls apart. And lately, I'd been seeing them. Three alphas, identical faces, dark eyes that tracked me like I was prey. I'd been having the same vision for 2 weeks straight. Flashes of hands on my skin, voices in my ear, a ring I didn't recognize burning cold against my finger. And that damn pregnancy test. I didn't know who they were. I didn't want to know. So I did what any smart Omega would do. I stayed the hell away from anywhere they might be. I lived in a cramped studio apartment in Newark, New Jersey, above a bakery that smelled like burnt sugar and broken dreams. My heat suppressants were expired, my bank account was crying, and my biology degree was gathering dust while I worked double shifts at a dive bar called the Amber Den. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. And more importantly, it was off the grid. No pack registration, no Omega registry, no alpha sniffing around trying to help me find my purpose. I'd watched my mom waste her life in a bonded contract with an alpha who saw her as a womb with legs. When she died, I was 16. I swore I'd never let that happen to me. So yeah, visions of pregnancy tests and 3 possessive alphas, hard pass. I was wiping down the bar top after closing when the door chimed. "We're closed," I called out, not looking up. The footsteps didn't stop. I sighed, grabbed the baseball bat we kept under the counter, and turned around. 3 men stood in the doorway. Identical, tall, sharp black suits that probably cost more than my rent. Dark hair slicked back, jawlines that could cut glass, and eyes, God, those eyes, cold, calculating, and locked directly on me. My heart stopped. No. Carter Reid, the one in the middle, spoke first. His voice was smooth, controlled, like he'd practiced saying my name 1,000 times. I tightened my grip on the bat. Depends on who's asking. The one on the left smiled. Slow, dangerous. "We've been looking for you. Congratulations. I've been avoiding you." I didn't lower the bat. "Now get out before I call the cops." The one on the right laughed. Short, sharp, like I just told a joke. "The cops work for us, sweetheart." Sweetheart. I was going to break his kneecaps. "Let me guess," I said, keeping my voice steady even though my pulse was hammering. "You're the Moretti brothers. Mafia royalty. Very scary. Very illegal. And somehow, you think I'm supposed to care?" The middle one stepped forward. "We're not here to scare you, Carter. We're here to make you an offer. I'm not interested in offers from men who show up after closing hours like a bunch of entitled stalkers." His jaw tightened. "You don't understand. I understand plenty." I cut him off, my voice sharp. "I've seen this before. Alpha Pack wants an Omega. Omega says no. Alpha Pack doesn't care. So let me save us all some time. My answer is no. Now leave." Silence. The 3 of them exchanged a look, something unspoken passing between them. Then the one in the middle pulled out a folded piece of paper from his jacket and placed it on the bar. "This is a contract," he said quietly. "You carry our children. 3 years. After that, you're free. We'll pay off every debt you have, set you up with whatever life you want, and you'll never see us again." I stared at the paper like it was a live grenade. "You're insane. We're serious." "You're insane," I repeated louder this time. "You think you can just walk in here, throw money at me, and I'll..." "What?" "Spread my legs and thank you?" The one on the left's eyes darkened. "Watch your mouth, Omega." "Or what?" I shot back, my vision starting to blur at the edges. Another premonition trying to claw its way in. "You'll force me. Newsflash, Alpha. I'd rather die." The middle one's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "We're not going to force you, but you're going to say yes." "And why the hell would I do that?" He leaned in, close enough that I could smell him. Cedar, smoke, and something dark I couldn't name. "Because in 72 hours, he said softly, someone's going to try to kill you. And the only reason you'll survive is because we'll be there to stop it. The vision hit me like a freight train. Blood, gunshots, my own body crumpling against cold pavement, and 3 voices screaming my name. I stumbled back, gripping the bar for balance. When I looked up, they were already walking toward the door. "We'll be in touch, Carter," the middle one said, without turning around. And then they were gone. I stood there shaking, staring at the contract on the bar. The pregnancy test from my vision flashed in my mind. 2 pink lines. "Shit," I whispered. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it. The gunshot, the blood pooling under me. The way my body went cold. 72 hours. I should have thrown the contract away, burned it, laughed it off as some sick alpha power trip. But I didn't, because the vision felt real, and my visions were never wrong. The next morning, I dragged myself to campus. I was 3 classes away from finishing my biology degree, 3 classes I'd been putting off for 2 years because work paid the bills and dreams didn't. But today, I needed normal. I needed to pretend like 3 mafia alphas hadn't just walked into my life and told me I was going to die. I grabbed coffee from the campus cafe, found a seat in the back of my lecture hall, and tried to focus on cellular respiration like my life wasn't falling apart. It lasted exactly 12 minutes. The door opened, and he walked in. Middle brother, the one who'd done most of the talking. Same sharp suit, same cold eyes, same suffocating presence that made the entire room feel smaller. He scanned the rows, and when his gaze landed on me, he smiled. Not a nice smile. A gotcha smile. "You've got to be kidding me," I muttered under my breath. He walked straight toward me, ignoring the professor mid-sentence, and slid into the seat next to mine. "Cellular respiration," he said casually, glancing at my notes. "Fascinating." "What the hell are you doing here?" I hissed, keeping my voice low. "Checking on you. I don't need a babysitter. You need protection." His voice dropped. "And whether you like it or not, Carter, you're ours to protect now." I turned to face him fully, fury bubbling up my chest. "I didn't sign your contract." "Not yet. Not ever." He leaned in, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating off him, and that's when it hit me. His scent. It slammed into me like a punch to the gut. Cedar and smoke, sharp and intoxicating, threading through my senses and sinking hooks into every nerve ending I had. My breath stuttered. "No, no, 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 no." "You feel it, don't you?" he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. I shoved my chair back, standing so fast I almost knocked my coffee over. "I don't feel anything." "Liar." My hands were shaking. My pulse was racing. And worse, my body was reacting. Heat crawling up my spine, my scent starting to slip past my suppressants, my Omega instincts screaming at me to submit, to stay, to let him closer. "Stay away from me," I said, my voice trembling. He stood slowly, his eyes never leaving mine. "You can run, Carter, but your body already knows the truth." "And what truth is that?" He stepped closer, and I stumbled back against the desk. "That you're ours," he said softly. "And you have. Been since the moment we caught your scent." The room was spinning. My suppressants were failing. I could feel my scent bleeding out. Vanilla and rainstorms. The one thing I'd spent years hiding, and the way his pupils dilated told me he could smell it too. "This isn't real," I whispered. "It's the realest thing you've ever felt." I shoved past him, grabbed my bag, and bolted out of the lecture hall. I made it halfway across campus before my legs gave out. I collapsed onto a bench near the quad, gasping for air, my whole body trembling. What the hell was that? I'd never reacted to an alpha like that. Ever. I'd built walls, taken suppressants, kept my distance. But one whiff of him and my body had betrayed me completely. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I should have ignored it. I didn't. Unknown. You can't outrun a scent bond, Carter. My stomach dropped. Me. There is no bond. Leave me alone. Unknown. Your body says otherwise. Unknown. We'll see you tonight. 8 p.m. The address is in your jacket pocket. I reached into my jacket. A business card. Heavy, expensive paper. An address in downtown Newark. How the hell? Me, I'm not coming. Unknown. Yes, you are. Unknown. Because in 48 hours, someone's going to put a bullet in your chest. And if you want to survive, you need us. I stared at the message, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. Another vision flickered at the edge of my mind. Blood, gunfire, and 3 voices screaming. Carter, stay with us! I shoved my phone into my bag and pressed my palms against my eyes. This is insane, I whispered to no one. This is completely insane. But my body still hummed with the memory of his scent. And deep down, in a place I didn't want to acknowledge, I knew. I was going to that address tonight, not because I trusted them, but because I was terrified they were right. I sat there for another 10 minutes, staring at the business card like it might spontaneously combust and solve all my problems. It didn't. This is stupid, I said out loud. A passing student gave me a weird look. I didn't care. This is the stupidest thing you've ever considered, Carter Reid. My phone buzzed again. Unknown. Tick-tock. Oh, screw you, I muttered, shoving the card back into my pocket. I wasn't going. I didn't care how good he smelled or how my traitorous body had nearly melted into a puddle at his feet. I'd survived 23 years without a pack, without a bond, without some alpha telling me what to do. I could survive this too. Probably. Maybe. Damn it. I went home, showered, changed into fresh clothes, told myself I was just going to eat dinner, watch some mindless TV, and forget this entire disaster of a day ever happened. At 7:45 p.m., I was standing outside the address from the business card. I hate myself, I whispered. The building was sleek, modern, all glass and steel in the heart of downtown Newark. The kind of place that screamed money and power and people who didn't take no for an answer. I should have turned around. Instead, I walked through the front door. The lobby was empty except for a receptionist who looked like she'd been carved from marble in boredom. Name? She asked without looking up. Carter Reid. Her fingers flew across her keyboard. Top floor. They're expecting you. Of course they are. The elevator ride felt like it lasted 3 years. My reflection stared back at me from the mirrored walls, and I looked exactly how I felt. Terrified, furious, and deeply confused about my life choices. The doors opened, and there they were, all 3 of them, standing in what looked like a penthouse office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Same suits, same faces, same suffocating presence that made my Omega instincts scream. The middle one stepped forward. You came. Don't sound so smug about it, I snapped. I'm only here because apparently I'm about to get murdered and you 3 are my only warning system. We're more than that. The one on the left this time, his voice smooth and dark. You're a headache, I shot back. That's what you are. The one on the right laughed. Actually laughed, like I just told the funniest joke he'd ever heard. I like him. Good for you. I don't like any of you. I crossed my arms. So let's get this over with. Who's trying to kill me and why? The middle one gestured to a leather couch. Sit. This might take a while. I'll stand. Carter. I said I'll stand. I met his eyes, refusing to flinch. Or is that a problem? Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe. Or respect. I couldn't tell. Fine. He leaned against the desk, arms crossed. Our names are Dante, Lucas, and Marco Moretti. I'm Dante. The smartass is Marco. He nodded to the right. And the quiet one is Lucas. Lucas, the left one, didn't say anything. Just watched me with those dark, unreadable eyes. Congratulations on having names, I said flatly. Now answer my question. Dante's jaw tightened. You're a biology student, top of your class. You also have a very rare scent profile that's been flagged by certain organizations. My stomach dropped. What kind of organizations? The kind that traffics omegas for experimental breeding programs. The room tilted. Excuse me? Marco spoke up, his voice losing its playful edge. There's a black market for omegas with specific genetic markers. Yours makes you extremely valuable and extremely targeted. I couldn't breathe. How do you know this? Because we've been tracking the network for months, Dante said quietly. And your name appeared on a transaction list 3 weeks ago. A transaction list. My voice was hollow. Like I'm a product. You're not. Lucas finally spoke, his voice low and rough. Not to us. I laughed. It came out bitter and sharp. Right. Because the contract you shoved at me last night was about respect. That contract, Dante said, stepping closer, is the only way to keep you safe. By making me your breeder. By making you ours. His voice dropped. If you're bonded to us, registered as our mate, no one can touch you. It's pack law. It's legal protection. And the pregnancy clause? Ensures the bond is legitimate in the eyes of the council, Marco added. Without it, they could challenge the claim. I stared at them, all three of them. These beautiful, infuriating, terrifying men who just told me my life was in danger, and their solution was to own me. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You want me to sign a contract that binds me to you for 3 years, carry your children, and just trust that you'll let me go after? Yes. And if I say no? Silence. Dante's expression didn't change. Then in 48 hours, you'll be dead or worse. My hands were shaking. I shoved them into my pockets. There has to be another way. There isn't. You don't know that. Carter. Lucas moved closer, and I hated how my body responded, how my pulse quickened, how my scent started to slip again. We're not your enemies. You're not my friends either. No, Marco said softly. We're your mates. The word hit me like a slap. I don't have mates. Your biology says otherwise. My biology can go to hell. Dante's lips twitched, almost a smile. You're stubborn. You're delusional. And you're running out of time. I hated him. I hated all of them. I hated that they were right, that my visions were never wrong, that I could already feel the bond trying to claw its way under my skin. I need time to think. You have 24 hours. Dante pulled out another card and held it out. This is a safe house. Stay there tonight. We'll have security outside. I didn't take the card. I'm not staying in your safe house. Then stay somewhere public. But don't go home. Why not? His eyes darkened. Because they already know where you live. My blood went cold. How? We'll explain everything tomorrow, but tonight you need to stay safe. He pressed the card into my hand. Please. The word sounded wrong coming from him. Too soft, too real. I looked down at the card, then back at him. This doesn't mean I'm saying yes. We know. And I still think you're all insane. Marco grinned. We know that too. I turned toward the elevator, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. Carter. Dante's voice stopped me at the door. I didn't turn around. What? We're not going to let anything happen to you. I swallowed hard. You don't even know me. We will. I stepped into the elevator. The doors closed, and I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. The elevator descended in silence, and my brain finally caught up to what my mouth had been doing for the last 20 minutes. What the hell was I thinking? I just stood in a room with 3 mafia alphas, argued with them like we were debating pizza toppings, and walked away with a safe house key and a death sentence countdown. Smooth, Carter. Real smooth. The elevator dinged, ground floor. I stepped out into the lobby, and that's when I felt it. A prickling sensation at the back of my neck. The kind that came right before a vision, sharp and insistent. Not now. Please, not now. The world tilted. Flash. A black sedan. Tinted windows. 2 men with guns. My face in their crosshairs. Target acquired. I stumbled, catching myself against the lobby wall. The marble receptionist looked up. Sir, are you all right? Fine, I gasped, even though I absolutely was not fine. Just dizzy. She frowned but didn't press. I pushed through the front doors and out onto the street. The night air hit me like cold water, sharp and centering. I sucked in a breath, trying to shake off the vision's residue. They're already here. My eyes scanned the street. Cars lined the curb. Any one of them could be there. Black sedan, tinted windows, parked 3 spaces down with the engine running. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I turned on my heel and walked straight back into the building. The receptionist blinked. Forget something. Yep, my will to live. I jabbed the elevator button. Which floor are the Morettis on again? Top floor, but the elevator doors opened. I stepped inside and hit the button like I was trying to punch through it. Come on, come on, come on. The doors closed. The elevator climbed. My phone buzzed. Unknown. Going somewhere? My blood turned to ice. Me. Who is this? Unknown. Someone who's very interested in meeting you, Carter Reid. Unknown. But it seems you've made some inconvenient friends. Unknown. Pity. This would have been easier if you'd just come quietly. The elevator dinged. Top floor. I practically fell out, my heart hammering against my ribs. The penthouse door was still open. I could see them through the glass, Dante at the desk, Marco sprawled on the couch, Lucas standing by the window. They all turned when I burst through. They're here, I gasped. Downstairs, black sedan, 2 men with guns, and someone's been texting me, and I saw it. I saw the whole thing. Dante was moving before I finished speaking. Marco, check the cameras. Lucas, lockdown protocol. Already on it. Lucas's fingers flew across his phone. Dante crossed to me in 3 strides, his hands gripping my shoulders. Are you hurt? No, I sucked in air. I'm just really tired of people trying to kill me. It's been a long day. His mouth twitched, almost a smile. You came back. Don't read into it. You were closer than the safe house. Sure. I'm serious. I believe you. He definitely didn't believe me. Marco looked up from his laptop. Got them? 2 targets in the sedan, 3rd in a van around the corner. They've been there for 20 minutes. How did they know I was here? I demanded. They probably followed you from campus, Lucas said quietly, still typing. Or they've been monitoring you for days. My stomach turned. Monitoring me? Like, watching me? It's what they do. I couldn't find the words. That's really creepy. It's about to get worse, Marco said grimly. They're moving, heading for the entrance. Dante's grip on my shoulders tightened. You're staying here tonight. Carter. His voice dropped, and something in it made my Omega instinct snap to attention. I'm not asking. I wanted to argue, I really did. But another vision flickered at the edge of my mind. Bullets and blood, and my own voice screaming. Fine, I bit out, but I'm sleeping on the couch. We have guest rooms. I don't care, I'm not. The lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in a second later, bathing everything in eerie red. They cut the power, Lucas said, his voice perfectly calm in a way that was somehow more terrifying than panic. How is that possible? I hissed. This is a secure building. Not secure enough. Dante pulled me behind him, his body a wall between me and the door. Marco, how many floors? They're in the stairwell, 6 floors down and climbing. My heart was trying to break out of my chest. What do? We don't panic. Dante glanced back at me. Can you fight? I can throw a decent punch. That's not going to be enough. Well, excuse me for not being a trained assassin. Quiet. Lucas held up a hand. I hear them. We all froze. Footsteps, multiple sets, growing louder. They're on this floor, Marco whispered. Dante moved fast. He pushed me toward the back of the penthouse, into what looked like a massive bedroom, and locked the door behind us. Stay here. Don't make a sound. Where are you going? To handle this? By yourself? He turned, and for the first time, I saw something dangerous flicker in his eyes. Something that reminded me exactly what he was. An alpha. A predator. And right now, someone was threatening what he considered his. Not by myself, he said softly. We're 3 of the most dangerous alphas on the East Coast, Carter. Those men should have stayed in their car. Wait. But he was already gone, the door clicking shut behind him. I stood there in the dark, my pulse thundering, and reached out with my precognition. Show me what happens next. The vision slammed into me. Gunshots, shouting, bodies hitting the floor, and Dante, Marco, and Lucas, moving like shadows, efficient and lethal, and terrifyingly synchronized. They won, but barely, and in the aftermath, I saw Dante's eyes when he looked at me. Possessive, protective, claiming. I sucked in a breath and pulled back from the vision. From outside the door, I heard the first gunshot. Then chaos. I pressed my back against the wall, slid down to the floor, and did the only thing I could do. I waited, and I prayed that my visions of them winning were right, because if they weren't, I was next. The sounds from outside were worse than any horror movie. Gunshots, shattering glass, a body hitting something hard, shouting in a language I didn't recognize, and then silence. The kind of silence that made my skin crawl. I was still pressed against the wall, my precognition humming under my skin, trying to show me what came next. But I shoved it down. I didn't want to see. Not yet. The door handle turned. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a decorative lamp that probably cost more than my car, and held it like a weapon. Carter, Dante's voice rough and low. It's me. Prove it. A pause. You told me my contract could go to hell. Verbatim. I set the lamp down and unlocked the door. He stood there, suit jacket gone, shirt sleeves rolled up, a cut above his eyebrow that was already starting to bruise. But alive. Whole. Behind him, Marco leaned against the wall, wiping blood off his knuckles with a handkerchief like he'd just finished a business meeting. Lucas was on the phone, speaking in rapid Italian. Are they? I couldn't finish the sentence. Unconscious, Dante said, and being removed as we speak. Removed. That's a nice word for it. Would you prefer disposed of? I'd prefer never showed up in the first place. I stepped out of the bedroom, my legs shaky. Are you okay? Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe. I'm fine. You're bleeding. It's nothing. It's on your face. He reached up, touched the cut, looked at his fingers like he'd forgotten it was there. I've had worse. That's not reassuring. I grabbed a dish towel from the kitchen area and wet it under the sink. Sit. Carter? I said sit. I pointed to the couch. Unless you want that to get infected and have to explain to people why the scary Mafia Alpha died from a cut he was too stubborn to clean. Marco snorted. I like it more every minute. Shut up, Marco, Dante muttered, but Saturday, I pressed the towel to his eyebrow and he hissed, Don't be a baby. I'm not. You literally just flinched. That's not flinching. That's a tactical assessment of pain tolerance. I almost laughed. Almost. You're ridiculous. And you're touching me voluntarily. His voice dropped. That's progress. I pulled back, heat crawling up my neck. Don't read into it. I just don't want you bleeding on your expensive furniture. Sure. I mean it. I believe you. He absolutely didn't believe me. Lucas finished his call and crossed the room. They were hired through a broker. Low level. They don't know who placed the contract. But someone did, I said quietly. Someone wants me badly enough to send armed men into a secure building? Yes. I sank onto the couch next to Dante, suddenly exhausted. Why me? I'm nobody. I'm just a broke college student who can barely afford rent. Silence. I looked up. All three of them were watching me with identical expressions. Careful, guarded. What? I demanded. What aren't you telling me? Dante exhaled slowly. You're not nobody, Carter. I'm pretty sure I am. Your mother, Lucas said quietly. Her name was Eleanor Reid. My blood went cold. How do you know my mother's name? Because 24 years ago, she was part of an experimental Omega genetics program, Dante said, one that was shut down by the FBI after multiple violations. I couldn't breathe. What? She was a test subject, voluntarily at first. They told her it was medical research, fertility treatments. His voice was careful, like he was diffusing a bomb. But it wasn't. They were trying to isolate specific genetic markers, create omegas with enhanced traits. That's insane. That's science without ethics, Marco said grimly. I stood pacing, my hands shaking. My mother never told me any of this. She probably didn't know the full extent, Lucas added. Most subjects didn't, but the program kept records, DNA, samples, and when you were born, I inherited whatever they did to her. My voice cracked. That's why people want me, because I'm some kind of genetic experiment. You're not an experiment, Dante said firmly, standing. You're a person. But yes, your genetic profile is unique. Extremely valuable to people who deal in that kind of trade. I laughed, bitter and sharp. So my whole life, I've been running from a pack bond, from alphas, from becoming someone's property. And it turns out I was marked as property before I was even born. Carter? Don't. I held up a hand. Just don't. Silence stretched between us. Then Marco spoke, his voice softer than I'd ever heard it. My mother was an Omega. I turned. He wasn't looking at me. He was staring at his hands. She was bonded to an alpha who saw her as a vessel, nothing more. When she got pregnant with us, he didn't care that it was triplets, didn't care that the pregnancy was killing her. He just wanted heirs. My chest tightened. She died 3 days after we were born, Lucas continued, his voice flat. And our father didn't even attend the funeral. We were raised by staff, Dante said quietly. Taught that Omegas were tools, possessions. That's what our world is built on. So why? I swallowed hard. Why are you different? Because we're not. Dante's eyes met mine. We're exactly what we were raised to be. Ruthless, calculating. We don't do relationships. We don't do love. We do control and contracts and power. Then why the hell do you want me? Because, Marco said softly, the moment we caught your scent, something in us broke. I stared at him. We don't know how to be good, Lucas added. We don't know how to be gentle, but we know we'll burn the world down before we let anyone hurt you. That's not romantic, I whispered. That's terrifying. We know. Dante stepped closer. But it's the truth, the only truth we have. My vision blurred. I blinked hard. I don't want to be owned. We're not asking you to be. His voice was rough. We're asking you to survive. And if that means binding yourself to 3 broken alphas who don't know how to love, but know how to protect, then that's the deal. I looked at each of them, these beautiful, dangerous, damaged men who just told me their darkest truth. I need air, I said. Dante nodded. The balcony, through there. I walked out, the night air hitting my face, and I let myself cry. The tears came hot and angry, and I hated every single one of them. I wiped at my face with the back of my hand, staring out at the Newark skyline. The city looked almost beautiful from up here, almost peaceful, like it wasn't full of people trying to kill me. You know, a voice said behind me, most people would have run by now. I didn't turn around. Most people aren't as stupid as me. Marco stepped up beside me, leaning against the balcony railing. He didn't look at me, just stared out at the city like we were 2 strangers sharing a view. For what it's worth, he said quietly. I meant what I said in there, about you breaking something in us. That's not comforting. It wasn't supposed to be. He glanced at me. It was supposed to be honest. I laughed, wet and bitter. Honesty from a mafia alpha. That's rich. We lie to everyone else. His voice was soft. But not to you. We can't. Your scent. It strips us bare. I finally looked at him. Really looked at him. In the dim light from the penthouse, he looked younger. Less dangerous. Almost vulnerable. Why triplets? I asked. How does that even work? 3 alphas? 1 omega? It's rare, but not unheard of. He shrugged. Our bond is different. We share everything, emotions, instincts. When one of us feels something, we all do. That sounds exhausting. It is. He smiled, sad and small. But it also means you'll never be alone, even when you want to be. What if I don't want any of this? Then we'll let you go. He said it so simply, like it was easy. After 3 years, after you're safe, we'll let you walk away. You really think you can do that? I turned to face him fully. Let go of your mate. His jaw tightened. We'll have to. Why? Because keeping you trapped would make us exactly like our father. His voice broke on the last word. And we swore we'd never be him. Something in my chest cracked. The balcony door opened. Dante and Lucas stepped out. We're not interrupting, are we? Dante asked. Yes, I said. No, Marco said at the same time. Lucas moved to my other side, and suddenly I was surrounded by all 3 of them, boxed in by alpha scent and body heat and the weight of their attention. I should have felt trapped. Instead, I felt Safe. Damn it. I have a question, I said, keeping my voice steady, and I want the truth. Always, Dante murmured. If I say yes to this contract, if I bond with you, carry your children, play house for 3 years. I looked at each of them. What happens when I leave? When the bond breaks? Silence. It'll hurt, Lucas said finally, for all of us. How much? Like dying. Dante's voice was rough, but slower. I sucked in a breath. And you're still willing to do it? To keep you alive? Marco's hand found mine, his fingers warm and careful. Yes. That's insane. Probably. Dante stepped closer, and I could smell him now. Cedar and smoke, and something darker, something that made my Omega instincts purr. But we've done worse things for worse reasons. This isn't a reason. This is suicide. Then we'll die knowing you lived. Lucas's hand touched my face, gentle and devastating. That's enough. My breath hitched. You can't just say things like that. Why not? Dante asked. It's true. Because, my voice cracked, because I'm trying really hard not to feel anything for you, and you're making it extremely difficult. Marco laughed softly. Good. That's not good. That's terrible. I pulled away, or tried to, but Lucas's hand was still on my face, and Marco's fingers were still tangled with mine, and Dante was so close I could feel his heartbeat. I don't want to care about you. Too late, Dante whispered, and then he kissed me. It wasn't rough, wasn't demanding. It was soft and careful, and so gentle it made my knees weak. I should have pushed him away. I didn't. Instead, I kissed him back. His hand cupped my jaw, tilting my face up, and the kiss deepened. Heat pooled low in my stomach, my scent spiking, vanilla and rainstorms flooding the air. When he pulled back, we were both breathing hard. That was a mistake, I whispered. Felt pretty perfect to me. Marco's voice was rough. Lucas's thumb traced my cheekbone. Your scent is intoxicating. My suppressants are failing. Good. Dante's forehead pressed against mine. Let them fail. Let us smell you. All of you. My heart was trying to break out of my chest. This is moving. Too fast, or we can slow down. Can you? I looked up at him, because it feels like you're all seconds away from marking me right here. His pupils dilated. We have more control than that. Do you? I challenged. Silence. Then Marco laughed, breaking the tension. He's got us there. Shut up, Marco, Dante muttered. I'm just saying, he's not wrong. Marco's hand squeezed mine. We're barely holding on here. Lucas stepped back first, giving me space. We should let you rest. I'm not tired. You're exhausted. Dante's hand fell away from my face. And you've been through hell tonight. So have you. We're used to it. His smile was sad. You're not. I wanted to argue, wanted to stay out here in this moment where everything felt fragile and real and almost beautiful. But my body was starting to crash, adrenaline fading, leaving behind exhaustion and fear and something I didn't want to name. The guest room, I said quietly. I'll take it. Good. Dante, step back. It's through there. Second door on the left. I moved toward the balcony door, then paused. Thank you, for tonight, for not letting me die. We'll never let you die, Lucas said softly. That's a big promise. We don't make promises we can't keep. I looked at all three of them one last time. These broken, beautiful, dangerous men who just kissed me like I was something precious. Good night, I whispered. Good night, Carter. I walked inside, found the guest room, and closed the door. Then I pressed my back against it and touched my lips. They still burned. I stood there for a full minute, fingers pressed to my mouth, trying to convince myself that kiss hadn't changed anything. It didn't work. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out, expecting another threat, another anonymous message telling me I was marked for death. Instead, it was a notification, email, from an address I didn't recognize. Subject, you deserve to know the truth. My stomach dropped. I shouldn't open it. I knew I shouldn't. Nothing good ever came from mysterious emails sent in the middle of a crisis. I opened it anyway. Attachment, surveillance_log, underscore Carter underscore Reid.pdf. My hand started shaking before I even clicked the file. The PDF loaded, and my world shattered. Date, March 15th, 2024. Target, Carter Reid. Location, campus library. Status, unaware of observation. Notes, target demonstrates high stress markers. Skip meals twice this week. Recommend continued monitoring. Date, April 3rd, 2024. Target, Carter Reid. Location, the Amber Den. Workplace. Status, unaware notes. Target working double shifts. Financial distress confirmed. Suppressant prescription refilled. Date, May 22nd, 2024. Target, Carter Reid. Location, apartment 2847. Market Street status, unaware notes. Heat cycle approaching. Increased vulnerability window. Recommend action within 30 days. The list went on and on. 6 months of surveillance. Every movement tracked. Every habit documented. My entire life cataloged like I was a science experiment. And at the bottom, a signature. Contracted by Moretti Enterprises. I couldn't breathe. The phone slipped from my hands and hit the carpet. They'd been watching me for 6 months. Before the attack. Before the contract. Before they showed up at my bar with their perfect suits and their pretty lies about fate and scent bonds. This wasn't destiny. This was a hunt. I yanked the door open and stormed back into the main room. All three of them looked up. Dante from his laptop. Marco from the couch. Lucas from the window. Carter? Dante stood. What's wrong? I held up my phone, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped it again. 6 months. His face went carefully blank. What? You've been watching me for 6 months? My voice cracked. Every place I went, every shift I worked, you documented my heat cycles like I was livestock. Silence. Not denial, not surprise, just silence. Say something, I whispered. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this is fake. Marco stood slowly. Carter, let us explain. Explain? I laughed and it came out broken. Explain how you've been stalking me since March? How you knew exactly where I'd be, exactly when I'd be vulnerable. How tonight's attack was perfectly timed to terrify me into your arms. That's not what happened, Dante said, his voice tight. Isn't it? I shot back. You said you'd been tracking the trafficking network for months. That my name appeared on a transaction list 3 weeks ago. But you've been watching me for 6 months. So which is it, Dante? Were you tracking criminals or were you tracking me? Both. Lucas spoke for the first time, his voice flat. We were doing both. My chest squeezed. Why? Because your mother's file came across our desk 8 months ago, Dante said carefully. The genetics program, the experiments. We started investigating and your name was flagged in the database. So you decided to stalk me. We decided to protect you. Without telling me? My voice rose. Without asking? You just watched? Like creeps? We didn't know if you were aware of the danger, Marco said. We couldn't approach you without confirmation that you were actually at risk. So tonight, I gestured wildly, the attack, the armed men, was real, Dante said firmly. We didn't orchestrate that, Carter. We would never... How do I know that? I demanded. How do I know anything you've told me is true? You've been lying since the moment we met. We never lied. You lied by omission, which is worse. I stepped back. That kiss on the balcony, was that part of the plan too? Get the Omega emotionally invested so he'll sign the contract? No, Dante's voice turned sharp. That was real. Was it, or was it just strategy? I looked at all three of them. 6 months of surveillance, and you know everything about me. My habits, my fears, my vulnerabilities. You knew exactly how to, play me. We weren't playing you, Lucas said quietly. Then what do you call this? I held up the phone again, because it looks like manipulation. It looks like 3 alphas deciding they wanted something and doing whatever it took to get it. That's not fair, Marco started. Fair? I laughed, bitter and sharp. You want to talk about fair? My entire life, I've been running from alphas who think they own me. and I ran straight into 3 who actually might. Carter, please. Dante moved toward me. Don't. I backed toward the door. Don't touch me. Don't come near me. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. You'll die out there. Maybe. I grabbed my jacket from the chair. But at least I'll die on my own terms. Not as some prize you spent 6 months hunting. We were protecting you, Dante said, and for the first time his voice broke. Everything we did was to keep you safe. You were controlling me. I yanked the door open. There's a difference. Carter, wait. Marco's voice was desperate. Just let you what? Explain how watching me sleep was for my own good? How documenting my heat cycles was protective? I shook my head. You're just like every other alpha who thinks omegas are problems to solve instead of people to respect. That's not true, Lucas said. Isn't it? I looked at him. You said you'd let me go after 3 years, but you've been planning this for 6 months, which means you're either liars or you're delusional. We're neither, Dante said. We're just in love with the idea of me, I finished. The genetic anomaly, the rare omega, the perfect vessel for your perfect heirs. My voice dropped. But you don't actually know me at all. I walked out, took the elevator down, and this time, when I hit the street, I didn't look back. My feet hit the pavement, and I walked. No destination, no plan. Just walking because standing still meant thinking, and thinking meant feeling, and I was done feeling things tonight. The street was empty, too empty for downtown Newark at this hour. A car door slammed somewhere behind me. I kept walking. Footsteps echoed off the buildings. Not theirs, different rhythm, heavier. My precognition flared. Flash, a hand over my mouth, chloroform, darkness. I spun around. 2 men, not the ones from earlier, new ones, bigger. Carter Reid, the one on the left smiled. It wasn't friendly. Someone wants to meet you? Yeah, well, I'm not really in a meeting mood. I took a step back. So how about you tell whoever sent you that I'm booked for the next decade? Wasn't a request. They move fast. I move faster. My precognition kicked in fully, showing me their moves half a second before they made them. Left one lunging, right one going for my arm. I ducked under the first one's grab, kicked the second one's knee, and ran. My sneakers slapped against concrete. My heart hammered in my chest. Stupid, Carter. So stupid. You walked right into this. I could see it now, flashing in my mind. If they caught me, I'd disappear. No trial, no rescue. Just another missing Omega who'd become a statistic. I turned a corner, my lungs burning, and slammed straight into someone's chest. Hands caught my shoulders. I looked up. Dante. His hair was a mess, his eyes wild, like he'd run the whole way. Let me go, I gasped. No, I said. I heard you. His grip tightened. And I don't care. You're not dying tonight. Behind me, the footsteps grew louder. Lucas appeared from a side street, moving like a shadow. Marco came from the opposite direction. The 2 men who'd been chasing me stopped, looked at the 3 alphas surrounding me, and very smartly turned around and ran. Smart choice, Marco called after them. I shoved against Dante's chest. Let me go. Not until you listen. I'm done listening. Then just stand there and be stubborn. His voice was rough. But you're not walking away. Again, not when there are people trying to kill you. Maybe I don't care anymore. Well, I do. He pulled me closer, and God, I hated how safe I felt. You want to hate us? Fine. You want to never forgive us? Fine. But you're staying alive long enough to make that choice yourself. You don't get to decide that. Watch me. I looked up at him, at the fear and fury and desperation in his eyes. You've been watching me for 6 months, I said quietly. Did you ever think about asking? About just talking to me like a person instead of tracking me like an asset? His jaw clenched. No. At least he was honest. We were trained to protect, Lucas said from behind me, not to connect. We don't know how to do this, Marco added. The feelings, the wanting, it's all new. That's not an excuse. It's not, Dante agreed. It's just the truth. We're broken, Carter. We've been broken since we were kids, and we don't know how to be anything else. So what? I demanded. I'm supposed to fix you? No. His hand moved to my face, gentle despite everything. You're supposed to let us try to keep you alive. Everything else? That's your choice. And if I choose to walk away? Pain flashed across his face. Real, raw pain that made my chest ache. Then we let you go, he whispered. After you're safe. After the threat is gone. We'll let you go. You said that before. And I meant it. Did you? I searched his eyes. Because 6 months of surveillance doesn't exactly scream respecting boundaries. You're right. He didn't look away. We crossed lines. We made decisions for you without asking. We were wrong. I blinked. Did you just admit you were wrong? Shocking, I know. His mouth twitched, almost a smile. Marco's probably having a stroke. I'm fine, Marco muttered. Just processing. Despite everything, I almost laughed. This is insane, I said. All of this. The contract, the surveillance, the fact that I'm standing here, having a feelings conversation in the middle of the street while people are trying to kidnap me. Welcome to our world, Lucas said dryly. I looked at each of them. These beautiful, damaged, infuriating men who just admitted they were broken and wrong and didn't know how to be anything else. I'm not signing your contract, I said. Dante's face fell. Carter, let me finish. I took a breath. I'm not signing a contract that makes me your property for 3 years. But, they all went still. But I'll make you a different deal. I met Dante's eyes. You keep me alive. No more surveillance without permission. No more decisions made for me. And when this is over, when the threat is gone, we sit down and talk about what happens next. Like equals. Equals, Dante repeated, like the word was foreign. That's what I said. You treat me like a person, not a prize. And maybe, my voice softened, maybe I'll stop seeing you as the enemy. And if we mess up, Marco asked, then I walk. No contract, no bond. I just leave. Silence stretched between us. Then Dante smiled. Actually smiled, warm and real and devastating. Deal. He held out his hand. I stared at it. This hand that had tracked me, protected me, touched me like I mattered. This is a mistake, my brain whispered. Maybe, my heart answered, but it's mine to make. I took his hand. His fingers curled around mine, warm and steady. We won't let you down, he said quietly. You better not. I squeezed his hand. Because I'm one betrayal away from kicking all 3 of you in places that'll make you regret having alpha biology. Marco laughed. There's the sass we were missing. It never left. I looked at them. Now can we please go somewhere that isn't an open street where I'm apparently on every criminal shopping list? The Penthouse, Lucas said. Fine. I started walking, still holding Dante's hand. But I'm sleeping in the guest room. And someone's making me food. And coffee. Lots of coffee. Demanding, Dante murmured. You have no idea. His thumb brushed across my knuckles. I'm looking forward to finding out. We made it back to the Penthouse without incident. Well, mostly without incident. Marco had insisted on carrying my jacket for safety reasons, which I was 90% sure was just an excuse to be chivalrous. You know I have arms, right? I said as we stepped into the elevator. I'm aware. He grinned. But I'm trying this new thing called being helpful. It's weird. Stop it. Never. Lucas actually smiled. A real one. Small, but there. When we got upstairs, Dante disappeared into the kitchen and emerged 5 minutes later with a grilled cheese sandwich that looked better than anything I'd eaten in weeks. You made this? I asked, suspicious. I'm not completely useless domestically. I'll believe it when I see you do laundry. Don't push your luck. But his eyes were warm. I ate in silence, the 3 of them watching. Like I might vanish if they looked away. This is creepy, I said around a bite of sandwich. The staring, it's creepy. Sorry. None of them stopped staring. I sighed and finished eating. Lucas's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then at Dante. It's done. What's done? I asked. The trafficking network. Dante leaned against the counter. We gave the FBI everything we had. Names, locations, financial records. By morning, most of them will be in custody. My chest tightened. Including whoever wanted me? Especially them. So I couldn't finish the sentence. Safe, Marco said softly. You're safe, Carter. The word hit me harder than I expected. Safe. I'd been running for so long, I'd forgotten what that felt like. Thank you, I whispered. Dante crossed to me, kneeling so we were eye level. We made mistakes. We watched you without permission. We made decisions we had no right to make. But Carter, his hand found mine. Everything we did, because the thought of losing you before we even met you was unbearable. That's not healthy, I pointed out. We're aware. He smiled, sad and real. But it's the truth. I looked at our joined hands. His was warm, calloused, steady. I'm still angry, I said. I know. And I don't trust you yet. We'll earn it. It's going to take time. We have time. His thumb brushed my knuckles. We have all the time you need. I looked up at him, at Marco, at Lucas, at these three broken alphas who just dismantled a criminal network to keep me safe. The scent bond, I said quietly. Is it real, or is it just biology? It's real, Lucas answered. But what we do with it, that's choice. And you choose? You, all three said at once. My breath caught. Even knowing I might never fully forgive you? Even then, Dante said. Even knowing I'll probably drive you insane with my attitude? Especially then, Marco added with a grin. Even knowing I come with trauma and trust issues and a really bad habit of running away from my problems? We'll run with you, Lucas said simply. Something in my chest cracked open. I stood, pulling Dante up with me, and before I could overthink it, I kissed him. This time it wasn't gentle. It was desperate and messy and real. 6 months of fear and anger and unwanted wanting pouring into it. When I pulled back, we were both breathing hard. I'm not signing your contract, I said. His face fell. Carter, because I want to write a new one. I looked at all three of them. One where we're partners, where you don't own me, and I don't owe you anything except honesty, where we figure this out together, however long it takes. Marco moved closer. Are you saying... I'm saying I want to try. My voice shook. I want to be terrified and angry and see where this goes, but on my terms. Our terms. Our terms, Dante repeated, and his smile was blinding. Lucas's hand found my waist. We can do that. You better. I looked at each of them. Because if you mess this up, I have precognition. I'll see the betrayal coming and be gone before you can blink. Noted, Marco said, pulling me against his chest. No betrayals. Got it. I leaned into him and it felt right. Terrifying and new and absolutely right. For the record, I murmured, I still think you're all insane. Probably, Dante agreed, his hand sliding into my hair. And possessive. Definitely, Lucas added, his scent wrapping around me. And way too overprotective. Not even sorry, Marco whispered against my ear. I tilted my head back, looking at the three of them. At the way they surrounded me, not trapping, but sheltering, not owning, but cherishing. One more thing, I said. Anything, Dante promised. No more secrets. Ever. If you're going to be in my life, I need complete honesty. Deal. Even when it's hard. Especially then. I nodded, something settling in my chest. Okay, then, let's try this. Whatever this is. The scent bond hummed between us, cedar and smoke and vanilla and rainstorms, all tangled together into something new. Something ours. Together? Dante asked. I smiled, real and terrified and hopeful all at once. Together. He kissed me again, and this time it felt like coming home. Like maybe, just maybe, I'd finally stop running. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to stay. 3 months later, I stood in the same penthouse, contract papers spread across the coffee table. Not their contract, ours, written together, negotiated, equal, and at the bottom 4 signatures, Dante, Lucas, Marco, and mine. I looked up at them, at these 3 alphas who'd learned to ask instead of take, to wait instead of demand. Ready? Dante asked, holding out his hand. I took it. Ready. And for the first time in my life, I meant it.